The other study was on autism, ASD, and autistic spectrum. What's ASD?
Autistic spectrum disorder.
Yeah, ASD. But
Yes.
I don't like to use the word disorder. But
And we don't like to really say
so we just say on the
autism.
spectrum. Spectrum. It used to be.
People, children on the spectrum.
Right.
End of story.
Yeah, and so we had some personal experience with our nephews on that, and so that got us into trying to get more information about it. And we went to the Organization for Autism Research, OAR, they call it OR. It's in McLean, Virginia, and they have all the top researchers on their advisory board. And they gave us, they said, oh, the guy that needs to really do this is Dr. Fetter. And he does a lot of review of studies and casework for us. And I said, okay, so how do I find this Dr. Fetter? And he said, well, you ever heard of Solana Beach, California? And I said, oh, somebody's watching out for us again, Danielle.
Yeah.
And so we made a meeting with Dr. Fetter. We told him about the device. We brought him a device, and very skeptical, extremely skeptical.
Beyond skeptical.
Beyond skeptical.
Which we're used to.
Yeah, and which we're used to. But then some of our users that were getting amazing results, and parents came in and talked to him and said, you really need to get involved in this. And so he brought in Fielding Graduate University in Santa Barbara, and we worked together, put together a protocol, and started that 2.5 years ago. I guess like 2018. And so that study has been going on. We're just getting to the final part of the manuscript. It seems to grow. It's 140 pages now, but it started out, it was going to be 15. And so it's 140 pages because every time we start looking into why some of these findings happened. It started out also just that we were, because one of the things we do is our device mimics a low-grade fever, and there's some really good benefits to that. Number one, it'll engage the immune system, which long-term or even short-term, it'll prevent you from picking up viruses. So on the number of people that sent in testimonials last week when I asked for them for our presentation to the FDA, I would say half of them, because I asked for immune system improvement that you knew of or respiratory issues. And almost all of the people with respiratory issues said, and we haven't had the device out there that long, but they said, well, this was the first winter that we didn't get the flu. I always, I'm in bed, I'm very susceptible to it, or I didn't get my bronchitis didn't flare up. And now people, some of the people, because it's spring in places like Oregon, they get a lot of allergies, and people would say, I didn't get my allergies this year. So, I was talking about the fever effect. Okay, so with autism, there's something called the fever effect, and we had personal experience with the fever effect. And any person that has
child on the spectrum
will know that when their child gets a fever, the most amazing thing happens is they become almost normal for a couple of days while they have the fever. And even a couple of days after the fever goes away, their children will have amazing verbal skills. They won't be melting down, which, by the way, in the UK is a medical term, melting down. I didn't believe it, but I was shown that. They don't have a meltdown, and they sleep at night. So here we have something that can safely, and one of the reasons that there hasn't been a lot of research on it is because you have to infect the child, and you can't get an IRB. IRB stands for Institutional Review Board to approve infecting children. And so when our device came along, here it was. It was a device that could create the same thing that happens with a moderate fever. And so that's how we started out on our journey on researching autism. And anyway, so that's been going on. So the final paper will be out shortly. The goal of the study was to follow and develop a way to create a protocol and pick out the best things for a major study. And that was a requirement of the Organization for Autism Research. They're more than happy to really jump in, but they wanted to see some preliminary findings. And so this study it's amazing in the preliminary findings, and there's a couple things in there that will lead to a more intensive study of hundreds of kids over many years. So I'm very happy with that, and we should be able to release that information before June, I think.
Can you tell them how extensive it was? I mean, it wasn't just the child, it was the whole family.
Yeah, we included the whole family,
Yeah.
which is the first time that, I mean, people have looked at the family, but I mean, when I say we, I mean they, developed a way to video a child before and after an event, and in this case, the event was using the Avicen, and then give it to a third party to rate it. And that has never been done before. So they could say, here's the change that we saw. And so there was a scale put together. I don't know how it's going to be named, but it might be named after the school, Fielding. So you have a 1 to 10, and the video reviewer would give it a 7. Say the change was 1 out of 10. That's going to be incorporated, I think, in all types of autism research, and so you can be very proud that
you're all a part of this.
That you're all part of that.
And you've been ever so patient. We appreciate it. I know we've been talking about it for over a year almost, but it just takes time. And we want to do it correctly because we only want to do it once. And we want to make sure that we legitimize all of this. And so that's why we all have to be a little bit more patient, hopefully not too much longer.
Right. And so the word has gotten out in the scientific communities. So last 2 weeks,